Hello and welcome to another Cliff Reviews Art House. This time I'm reviewing the film Bones and All, directed by Luca Guadagnino. So Bones and All is a horror film, but it's also a kind of coming-of-age love story. I knew nothing about this film, and it was the one of Guadagnino's past 5 films that I hadn't seen, so I decided to watch it. I concluded at the end of my queer review that Guadagnino hasn't made a film that I love yet, but watching this I can actually say that I really enjoyed it. Knowing nothing about the film was good. It starts quite normal. It's got these girls having a party, but then there's a sudden turn of events which comes as a surprise, and I was instantly engaged by this. I watched the trailer afterwards and I realised that it gives a lot away in the trailer, so it's not really a spoiler to say that this film is about this minority group. The common feature of this group is that they all have cannibalistic tendencies. As I say, I really enjoyed this film. In my recent review of Queer, I said that Guadagnino is a great filmmaker, but that I don't really connect with his films. But of his past 5 films, I definitely think this one stands out as the best, for me at least. The story follows a young woman, Maren, played by Taylor Russell, and she sets out on a journey across America. She encounters these fellow eaters, these cannibals, and the film is exploring the themes of love, identity, community. It's not just a horror film about eating people. Timothée Chalamet plays Lee, her lover interest, and he's another eater. Now, I often find Guadagnino's films very slow and hard to watch, without much reward at the end of it, and I have accused him of style over substance. But I found this was a pretty gripping story. It is 2 hours long. Perhaps I would make one small criticism, that it's a little bit too long. But apart from that, I really enjoyed it. The story is compelling. The horror is well done. It's definitely not a film to watch while you're eating meat. That said, the horror is relatively tame. In some ways, it's more of a road movie, a love story. We're always sympathetic to Maren and Lee, even though Lee does murder some people, and they're both cannibals that will take any opportunity to eat humans. It's kind of interesting the way the film does this. There are big ambiguities here. We're kind of on their side, even though they're actually eating people. It is slightly sanitized as a horror film. It's got many similarities to the film Raw, directed by Julia Ducournau. But Raw is much more visceral as a horror film, much more psychological tension. I think, though, that in Bones and All, this sanitization makes it an interesting study in love between this couple. And I think it's an interesting study of a marginalized community, a community that doesn't necessarily understand their urges and desires, but just isn't able to control them. We do meet a few other eaters along the way, and Mark Rylance is just excellent as one of the other eaters. There is this kind of strange community between the eaters, a kind of fellowship, but there's a sense of not being able to trust anyone. This is such a marginalized community that no one feels safe and secure. It's an interesting idea in the title, Bones and All. One of the eaters explains the transformational experience of eating a person, bones and all. He says that there's a before bones and all and after. Part of this strange metaphor is perhaps the destructive nature of love. Devouring someone, bones and all, is perhaps similar to the idea of completely giving ourselves to another person. It is a strange film. How can we be on the side of cannibals? But I think the metaphors here are strong. There are many levels of meaning here. Being other in our society is messy. Even someone who does bad things is human. I do think this is a very humanizing film. Overall, this is definitely the Guadagnino film that I have most enjoyed. I do think he's a really talented filmmaker, but somehow most of his films just don't connect with me. This one, however, is an exception, and I would recommend this film. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.